All right, so today we're diving into something I think we've all struggled with.
Yeah.
How to deal with disrespectful people.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And we've got a great source for this deep dive.
Awesome.
A YouTube video by James the Stoic.
Okay.
It's called 5 Ways to Handle People Who Don't Respect You, Stoic Philosophy.
Catchy title.
Yeah. So I think James offers a really interesting perspective on this because, there's the usual advice out there, but he really kind of goes beyond that and talks about things like,
Okay.
using silence as a tool, and even like your posture can make a difference.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. I'm curious to hear more about that.
Yeah. So let's jump into it.
Okay.
So the first tact he talks about is called the silent stare.
Oh, okay.
Pretty self-explanatory, right?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
You just stare silently at the person who's being disrespectful.
Uh-huh.
But there's a little bit more to it than that.
I figured.
So what do you think's going on psychologically there?
Well, I think if you think about it, people who are disrespectful, a lot of times they want a reaction, right? They want to get a rise out of you. And so when you meet that disrespect with just a calm gaze,
Oh, I see.
you're denying them that satisfaction.
Yeah.
And you're holding up a mirror to their own behavior
Makes sense.
without saying a word.
Right. And James actually shares an anecdote in the video about how he used this in a meeting.
Okay.
He was in this meeting, and there was this guy who kept interrupting him.
Oh, I hate that.
Every time he tried to talk, the guy would just talk over him.
Uh,
And so finally, he just stopped talking, leaned back in his chair, and just stared at the guy.
I bet that was effective.
Oh, yeah. He said the whole room got quiet,
Oh, wow.
and everybody else started looking at the guy like,
What is going on here?
exactly. And the guy, totally fumbled his words and,
Yeah.
and stopped interrupting.
So it worked.
Yeah. And it really just goes to show how,
Yeah.
when you do something unexpected like that, it throws people off balance.
Yeah, because they're anticipating a certain reaction and they don't get it.
Right. And it forces them to think about what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So have you ever been in a situation
Oh, many times.
where someone was just blatantly rude?
Yes.
I mean, imagine using the silent stare in that moment.
It's a good visualization.
What do you think that would feel like?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would feel powerful,
Yeah.
like you're taking back control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, so moving on to tactic number 2.
Okay.
This one is called embrace silence as your answer.
Ooh, I like that.
And this one's really about,
Okay.
it's not about being passive. It's about choosing silence strategically.
So it's a choice you're making.
Yeah. And I love how James describes this. He says it's like starving disrespect of the attention it craves.
I love that analogy.
Right. You're not giving it the fuel it needs to keep burning, and it really helps you conserve your energy.
Right, because arguing can be so draining.
Totally. And James gives this example of, oh, cool.
How he was with someone who kept making these digs disguised as jokes.
Oh, yeah. Passive-aggressive comments. I know those.
So annoying. And instead of, arguing with the guy or defending himself, he just chose silence.
So what did he do?
He just looked at the guy, kind of raise an eyebrow,
Oh, yeah.
and let the silence hang there.
And that can be so powerful.
Right. Almost makes it more awkward for the other person.
Yeah, puts the spotlight right on them.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
And in this case, it worked. The guy kind of mumbled something and never tried that tactic again.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting to think about a time when you did react to disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
How did that make you feel?
Yeah.
Did it actually make you feel better, or did it just drain you?
I think more often than not, it just kind of makes things worse.
Yeah. And I think silence can be such a more effective way to just kind of de-escalate the situation.
Definitely.
All right. So tactic number 3.
Okay, I'm ready.
This one's called stop explaining your choices.
Interesting. Tell me more.
Yeah. So James's argument here is that
Okay.
we often feel this pressure to justify our decisions to other people.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But we don't actually owe anyone an explanation for how we choose to live our lives.
That's a really good point.
Right? And constantly explaining yourself can be so exhausting
Totally.
and often just leads to more questioning and doubt.
It's like you're giving away your power.
Yeah, like you're letting other people dictate your life.
Mm-hmm.
So what does James suggest we do instead?
I'm curious.
Well, he actually recommends a very simple approach.
Okay.
If someone asks you why you made a certain decision,
Yeah?
just say, because I wanted to.
I like it simple and to the point.
Right. It shuts down the conversation without being confrontational.
You're setting a boundary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And James actually shares a great example
Oh, cool.
from his own life.
Okay.
He decided to make a big career change.
Oh, wow.
And of course, everybody had an opinion about it.
Oh, yeah, of course. Everyone's a critic.
Right. At first, he was trying to explain his reasoning to everyone who asked.
I can imagine that got tiring.
Oh, it was exhausting.
Yeah.
No matter what he said, people always had more doubts and questions.
Yeah.
So finally, he just changed his approach.
Good for him.
And the next time someone asked him, why did you quit your job? He just said, because I wanted to.
I love that.
And it was so liberating for him.
Yeah.
The other person was totally taken aback and stopped asking questions.
It's amazing how effective that can be.
Yeah.
When you just own it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, for you, what's a decision you've made that people have questioned?
Oh, so many.
I know, right? We've all been there.
Yeah.
So imagine just saying, because I wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
and leaving it at that. How does that feel?
It would probably feel a little uncomfortable at first, but also, like, really freeing.
I think so, too, like you're taking back your power.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So tactic number 4.
Okay, bring it on.
This one's called keep your distance.
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
And this one might be the toughest one to swallow.
Yeah, I can see how that would be tough.
Because it's about recognizing that sometimes the best way to handle disrespectful people is to create some space between yourself and them.
So, like, just not engage with them at all?
Well, it's not about being unkind or cutting people off completely.
Oh, okay.
It's about being strategic with your time and energy.
So it's more about setting healthy boundaries.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
James uses this great analogy, he says, to think of your life as a limited access club.
Okay.
Not everyone deserves a VIP pass.
I like that.
Right? We don't have to tolerate disrespect just because someone is family or a longtime friend.
Right. We deserve to be treated with respect.
Yeah. And sometimes that means creating distance from people who consistently fail to do so.
That makes sense. But it's easier said than done.
Yeah. Our society kind of makes us feel guilty for distancing ourselves.
Like we should just forgive and forget.
Exactly. But James really emphasizes that this isn't about being mean or holding grudges.
Okay.
It's about self-preservation.
It's about protecting yourself.
Yeah, protecting your mental and emotional well-being.
Right.
Maybe you see that person less often.
Yeah.
Or you limit your interactions with them.
Mm-hmm.
It's about finding what works for you and setting those boundaries.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Now, James has a personal story about this, too.
Okay.
He had a friend who was constantly making snide remarks.
Ugh, I've been that.
And undermining him.
Those people are the worst.
Right. And at first he tried to brush it off, but eventually he realized this friend's behavior was really wearing him down.
Yeah.
So he decided to create some distance.
So how did he do that?
Well, he didn't make a big announcement or anything.
Okay.
He just started seeing the person less often.
Oh, okay.
He'd make other plans when they invited him out.
Right.
And he wouldn't go out of his way to stay in touch.
So just kind of a gradual distancing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said it made a huge difference in his life.
Really?
He felt lighter, freer.
Oh,
and he realized how much energy he had been wasting on that toxic friendship.
It's amazing how much we don't even realize it sometimes. Yeah. How much those relationships are affecting us.
And it's important to remember that distancing yourself from disrespectful people isn't selfish.
Right.
We often feel guilty for doing that.
It's like we're abandoning them or something.
Yeah, but sometimes it's the healthiest thing we can do.
Yeah.
Both for ourselves and for the other person.
It can give both people a space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So think about the people in your life.
Okay.
Are there any relationships that consistently leave you feeling drained or disrespected?
That's a good question.
It might be time to consider creating some distance.
It's worth thinking about.
Yeah, for sure. All right, ready for the final tactic from James the Stoic?
Hit me with it.
It's a classic for a reason.
Okay.
Hold your head high.
I love that one.
It's about projecting confidence and self-worth, even when facing disrespect.
Powerful.
And James points out that this can actually make disrespectful people uncomfortable.
Oh, I bet.
Because they want you to feel small.
Right.
They want you to doubt yourself.
And when you don't, it throws them off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like you're saying, I know my worth, and your words don't have the power to diminish me.
And that confidence just radiates.
Right. And James tells this story about dealing with someone who was constantly throwing insults his way. Instead of getting defensive, he focused on his posture.
Okay.
Stood up straight, held his head high.
Love it.
Met the person's gaze with confidence.
Yeah.
And the person actually started backing down.
Wow. So it really works.
Yeah. It was like they could sense that their insults weren't having the desired effect.
They weren't getting to him.
Exactly. And it's amazing how our energy and body language can just completely change the course of an interaction.
I know, it's so powerful.
It's like they realize they can't control us or our emotions.
Right.
So imagine walking into a room, head held high, knowing your worth.
Oh, man.
How does that image make you feel?
Powerful, strong.
Like you're in control.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to the heart of what James is trying to convey here.
Yeah.
We all have the power to choose how we respond to disrespect. We can let it define us, or we can rise above it and choose to live with confidence and self-respect.
That's a great message.
Yeah, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah, we have.
Exploring James the Stoic's 5 tactics for handling disrespectful people. What are your initial thoughts?
Well, I think they're really practical.
Yeah.
And I love how they empower people to take control instead of letting disrespect dictate their reaction.
It's all about reclaiming your power.
Exactly.
And I think what's so interesting is how these tactics connect back to the core principles of Stoicism.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like the emphasis on controlling our emotions and focusing on what we can influence.
Right. That's classic Stoicism.
So it's not just about dealing with difficult people.
No.
It's about cultivating a mindset that allows us to navigate life's challenges with grace and equanimity.
Well said. I love that.
So I think that's a powerful message.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
okay,
I just want to remind everyone,
yes,
if you're enjoying this episode and finding value in these insights, we would love for you to support our work.
Please do.
By subscribing to the show.
Yeah.
Sharing it with your friends.
Tell everyone.
And leaving us a review.
Yeah.
On your favorite podcast platform.
It really helps us out.
It does. We really appreciate all the support we've received so far.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, it keeps us motivated to keep diving deep and exploring these fascinating topics.
Definitely.
So join us on this journey of discovery.
That's you too.
And let's continue to learn and grow together.
I'm all for it.
We'll be back in a moment to further unpack these Stoic tactics.
Okay.
And delve into their practical applications in our everyday lives.
Sounds good.
All right, see you in a bit.
C-Day. So I think, you know what's really cool about these tactics is they offer a really different approach than just, fighting fire with fire.
Right.
Like they're about taking a step back and assessing the situation and responding in a way that really aligns with your values.
I think that's a really important point.
Yeah.
It's not about letting people walk all over you.
No, not at all.
It's about responding in a way that preserves your dignity and your peace of mind.
Exactly. And that's where I think Stoicism really shines.
Yeah.
It's about that inner strength.
That resilience.
Yeah.
So let's maybe delve a little deeper into some of these tactics and how we can actually apply them.
Yeah.
So let's say you're dealing with a colleague who's constantly interrupting you in meetings, just like in James's story.
Right.
What do you think about using the silent stare in that moment?
I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's a way to assert yourself without being confrontational, and I think body language is important too.
Oh, for sure.
Like maintaining eye contact, keeping a relaxed but upright posture. Those subtle cues speak volumes.
And it's like you're saying, I see you and I'm not going to let you steamroll me.
Exactly. And I think a lot of times it disarms the other person.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're expecting you to get flustered or angry.
Right.
And when you don't,
they don't know what to do.
Yeah, it throws them off balance.
What about those situations where someone's making like those snide remarks or passive-aggressive comments?
Yeah.
I feel like silence is a good weapon there too.
Absolutely.
Especially if they're just trying to get a reaction out of you.
Yeah, if their goal is to push your buttons, you're not giving them the satisfaction.
You're taking back control.
Yeah.
And that can be so empowering.
It is.
To realize you have that choice.
Yeah.
You don't have to let their negativity dictate your emotional state.
Absolutely. And, it doesn't mean you have to tolerate abusive behavior.
Oh, right, of course.
Like if someone's crossing a line, it's totally fine to remove yourself from the situation.
Which brings us back to that keep your distance tactic.
Right. Which can be a tough one.
It can be a tough one.
But sometimes it's so necessary.
Yeah.
For your own sanity.
It's about recognizing that we all have a limited amount of energy. And sometimes protecting ourselves means creating distance from people who consistently drain us.
And it's not always easy.
No, it's not.
Especially if it's someone you care about.
Yeah.
But
I think it's important to remember that true friendship and love should be based on mutual respect.
Absolutely.
And support.
Yeah, not on tolerating bad behavior.
So if you're in a situation where someone's constantly making you feel bad about yourself, it might be time to have an honest conversation with them about your needs.
Yeah. Set some boundaries.
And if that doesn't lead to any positive change, it might be necessary to reevaluate the role they play in your life.
I agree.
That stop explaining your choices tactic.
Oh, yeah.
That one really resonated with me.
Me too.
It's so easy to get caught up.
I know.
In feeling like we need to justify our decisions.
Yeah. Everyone wants to know why.
To everyone.
Yeah.
And especially when they question our choices.
Right. Like they're entitled to an explanation.
But the truth is, we don't owe anyone an explanation.
No, we don't.
As long as our choices aren't harming others.
Right. Exactly.
I think that's where confidence comes in.
Yeah.
When we're secure in our own decisions, we don't feel the need to constantly seek approval.
From other people.
From other people.
Yeah.
So how do you think we can cultivate that sense of confidence?
Well, I think it starts with recognizing our own worth.
Yeah.
You know, we all deserve to be treated with respect. Regardless of our achievements or our status or our opinions.
And remembering that we have the power to choose
how
we respond to any situation.
Right. We don't have to let other people dictate our emotional state.
And that brings us back to hold your head high.
Love it.
That's about physically embodying that confidence.
Yeah, like owning your space.
Yeah.
And not letting disrespect diminish you.
You know, I keep thinking back to James's story.
Yeah.
About the person who was throwing insults.
Right, and how he changed his posture.
Yeah.
And it completely shifted the dynamic.
Like that saying,
oh, yeah,
what other people think of me is none of my business.
Exactly, like their opinions are their own.
Yeah.
And we don't have to take them on.
So even if someone's being disrespectful, we can choose to maintain our own dignity and self-respect.
And that's a really powerful choice.
So we've really explored these 5 tactics in depth.
Yeah.
But I'm curious from your perspective.
Yeah.
How can we integrate these STOIC principles into our daily lives beyond just dealing with disrespectful people?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think Stoicism offers such great insight into all of life's challenges. You know, it's about cultivating that mindset that allows you to approach difficulties with resilience, with acceptance, and with a focus on what you can control.
So it's not just about reacting to situations.
Right.
It's about proactively cultivating a mindset that supports your well-being.
Yeah, and recognizing that true happiness comes from within.
Yeah.
Not from external validation or circumstances.
That's a message that really resonates with me.
Yeah, me too.
It's a reminder that we have the power to choose how we experience life.
Regardless of the challenges.
Regardless of the challenges.
Yeah.
And I think that's a powerful message to share.
Absolutely.
With our listeners.
Yeah.
And speaking of our listeners, if you're enjoying this episode and you're finding value in these insights, there's a simple way to show your support.
Please do.
You can subscribe to our show.
Yeah.
Share it with your friends and family.
Tell everyone.
And leave a review on your favorite podcast platform.
It really helps us out.
It really does.
Yeah.
We appreciate every single listener.
Yes, thank you.
And all the support we've received.
Yeah. It means a lot.
It means the world to us.
It keeps us going.
It keeps us motivated.
Yeah.
To keep diving deep into these fascinating topics.
Yeah, for sure.
They can help us all live more fulfilling lives.
Absolutely.
So we'll be back in just a moment.
Okay.
To wrap up our deep dive into James the Stoic's strategies for handling disrespectful people.
Okay.
And explore some final thoughts on applying these principles to our everyday lives.
Sounds good.
Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive into James the Stoic's advice, it's important to remember that these tactics aren't about,
you know, being aggressive
right,
or trying to win an interaction.
Right.
No, it's not about that at all.
It's really about responding to disrespect in a way that prioritizes your own well-being and your peace of mind.
Like you're not trying to change the other person.
Right.
You're just trying to take care of yourself.
It's about finding that balance between asserting yourself and maintaining your composure.
And sometimes the most powerful way to assert yourself is through silence.
Right.
Or through a steady gaze, or through just refusing to engage.
You're not giving them what they want.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's a really important takeaway here. It's recognizing that you have a choice in how you respond.
You don't have to react
to any situation
the way they expect you to.
You can choose a different path.
And that path might involve walking away, holding your head high, or simply saying, because I wanted to.
It's about owning your choices.
Yeah.
And not letting other people dictate how you live your life.
I love that.
And I think one of the most important takeaways from James's video is that these tactics are ultimately about self-respect.
Absolutely.
It's about recognizing your own worth and refusing to let anyone treat you as anything less.
And I think that's something we all need to be reminded of.
We all need to hear that sometime.
From time to time.
We're all worthy of respect.
Yes.
Regardless of our background, our achievements, or our opinions.
Couldn't agree more.
So as you go about your week, remember to hold your head high. Set those boundaries. And never be afraid to walk away.
From anything that doesn't serve you.
From anything that doesn't serve you.
Yeah.
And remember, we're here with you every step of the way.
That's right.
Keep diving deep. Keep exploring.
Keep learning.
And keep striving to live a life that is true to yourself.
I love that.
And if you're enjoying our deep dives,
yes,
be sure to subscribe and share the show with your friends.
Tell everyone.
It really helps us grow our community.
Yeah.
And continue these conversations.
It means a lot.
And don't forget to leave us a review.
Yes, please do.
On your favorite podcast platform.
We love hearing from you.
It means the world to us to hear your thoughts and feedback.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
On this journey into the world of Stoic philosophy.
It's been fun.
And the art of handling disrespectful people.
Yeah, this was a good one.
We'll see you next time.
All right, see you then.
For another deep dive into the topics that matter most.
Sounds good.
Until then, stay curious and keep exploring.